Hello, everyone. We welcome you with open arms to another edition of Good Health by Claudia, the podcast. It is with me, Denny Schaffer, of course, and it's a production of Denny Radio, and we are at episode 63. Yes, it's very exciting. We're rolling along. Hopefully everybody is doing well, and they survived, Memorial Weekend. I'm sure people probably ate and had a lot more fun than they normally do. I know I did. Did you have any fun Memorial Weekend?
We had a nice weekend. Just relaxed, and I gardened, and the weather was lovely, and was with my boys, and
there you go.
Very grateful.
Okay, so today is a very exciting episode. He's a return guest because he was that good.
Yeah.
The other guests, if you have not been asked back, that means you're probably not very good, and we're not going to ask you back. But Dr. J is very, very good. Dr. J from Bionax, founder and formulator. He's a naturopathic doctor with over 25 years of experience in health.
Is that what you said?
Bionax? Bionax. That's a fun word to say. Bionax. There you go. Did I say Bionax?
It's something.
Who knows? I am a professional broadcaster. I rarely make a mistake. Anyway, I know this. I've used his products, and they're really good.
Yeah, they're wonderful.
All right, so how do you know, before we bring him in, how do you know Dr. J?
Well, I met him at a trade show, actually, and he was just one of those people I immediately resonated with. So he's got a great heart and very, very knowledgeable, very intelligent, and, makes a great product. So
instant connection.
Yep.
And then you obviously
he might not say the same thing, but
we'll give him his chance in a second once we stop kibitzing. And obviously his products are so good because you carry a bunch of them in the store.
Absolutely. Yeah.
All right. Well, let's welcome him in. Hello, Dr. J.
Hi, Dr. J. Good morning. Afternoon.
63.
Yeah. What part of the country are you in, Jay?
I am in Georgia.
How y'all doing? Atlanta?
That's right. Georgia.
We just got excited about because we lived in Atlanta for 6 years, and Johns Creek, where we lived, was rated the #1 city in America to live in.
Wow.
Okay.
So I thought that was kind of cool.
Yeah.
Anyway.
Good thing you moved back to Toledo.
Oh, are you kidding me? The fun we're having. Although there is talk of, going south at one point. So Claudia, you might have to fly down south to do a podcast. Now we'll just do it like this. We'll bring you in.
Right.
All right. Where would you like to start? Which one of his amazing products?
Well, the last time, Dr. J, that you were on, we talked about the nitric oxide powder, which from that podcast, we had a lot of people come in and get this product. And I got to tell you, they're still coming in to get it. They love it. It's a wonderful product. Let's talk just for a moment about the importance of nitric oxide. And then I do want to talk about your product that you made for chelation, for chelating heavy metals, because it's a great product. So let's just briefly start with nitric oxide. I think it's worthy of it's an important conversation and to talk about again.
Absolutely. So I was first introduced to the whole concept of nitric oxide and nitric oxide supplementation back in 2005. And was blown away by the research. And I thought, wow, this is phenomenal. It's something natural. And being a naturopath, that's what we're into, right? Things that are natural. So
Absolutely.
here you have Nobel Prize winning research on something that's natural, and hundreds of thousands or tens of thousands of studies on nitric oxide and these precursors like arginine and citrulline and antioxidants that work together to really facilitate health in the arteries, good healthy blood pressure, and good healthy blood flow. So particularly in the field of cardiovascular health, in fact, we've transitioned from just being called the ultimate nitric oxide nutrition on that product that you just showed to CardioGo, because there's just so many studies revolving around cardiovascular. It does much more than cardiovascular health, but certainly starting there is a good place, because once you hit about 40, you make about 50% of the nitric oxide that you made when you were 20. So nitric oxide is a very simple molecule. It's a gas that your body makes, one part nitrogen, one part oxygen. Very simple, but so profound in its effects on the human body. It really affects basically every function in the human body. You cannot name anything from hormones to blood sugar health to cardiovascular to even urogenital. I mean, you name it, and it affects it.
Yes. And it's interesting, we talk a lot about the gut, the importance of gut health, which obviously is everything because it connects everything in the body. But vascular health is so incredibly important because it's how the blood and oxygen is flowing through the system. So tell us exactly, just simply, what the nitric oxide is doing in the human body.
Good. Yeah. So once arginine and citrulline go into the arginine nitric oxide pathway, the first thing that gas does is it vasodilates the arteries. So by relaxing the blood vessels, you're encouraging good blood flow, not just through the macro arteries, the big arteries, but also that microcirculation. So a lot of people that have conditions or symptoms of like Raynaud's, where they have issues with sensitivity and lack of blood flow into the fingers or toes or whatever, they notice as they boost their nitric oxide back that those symptoms go away. So to your point, your arteries are like your highway of how things move around, right? So you got to have that highway open and clear, not like what you ran into in Toledo today. I understand with the problems with the traffic, right? We don't want that. We want to keep the traffic open and flowing, and that's what nitric oxide does.
And it's fair to say that most Americans, I don't know what percent, but I'm going to assume a lot, their cardiovascular system is not happy. And
yeah, to that point, when I was, what I was dealing with in practice, I knew at least 80% of my adult patients were dealing with cardiovascular issues to one degree or another. Yes. And that's really statistically true. The main issue that we're faced with as a nation, and as is most developed countries, is heart disease. So 600,000 people die each year from heart attack. 100,000 die of a stroke, which is essentially the same condition, just happens in different parts of the body.
Yes.
So it way outpaces any other health issue. So absolutely, it's an extremely high percentage of adults that are dealing with cardiovascular problems.
And, people will ask, well, how did their vascular system get so clogged up? Well, all you have to do is look at what the American public is eating.
Here we go.
And it always goes back, doesn't it? It always goes back to food. And you throw in heavy metals. You throw in and we're going to talk about heavy metals today because you guys have made another great product for addressing heavy metals. But it's interesting. The people our customers that take this product, so many of them have come back and said, their blood pressure is improved, their mental clarity is getting better, their cognitive function is getting better. They have more energy. They throughout the day. We hear a lot of wonderful feedback on this product. So
that's a good question. People always ask me, how do you know your supplements are working? How would you know that this product is working for you? Is it within a week? What differences do you think people would notice, Jay?
Right. So what I tell people is that typically right away people notice, as Claudia was mentioning, the cognitive. It's like the cobwebs kind of disappear in their mental acuity increases, their energy increases, their sleep patterns improve. So that can happen. That can happen almost instantaneously. People try it and they're like, "Wow, I can feel that I'm doing better," and they get more pinkness in their extremities. And the other things that we'd expect over time is just like Claudia mentioned too, is that their blood pressure numbers improve. They over time will see better numbers as far as their cholesterol and triglycerides are concerned, and very serious issues that they might be dealing with. The reason that people get blocked arteries is due to a lack of nitric oxide. And so it can be caused by any number of things, but age is the biggest factor. But as you restore that nitric oxide, then over time, even if they're dealing with serious issues like blockages or congestion in their arteries, by boosting nitric oxide, and we're not making any health claims here, all we're doing is just helping the body make what it needs to on its own. And as you do that, that's where the magic happens. And so all these things have been very well researched and studied to have profound effects on very serious health complications.
Okay, so this product right here will be going over here on Denny's pile. So I've used that before, and I don't know. And I'm, as I'm listening to you guys talk, I'm like, okay, why did I stop doing that?
Yeah,
because that is a good product.
And it's easy to take. It mixes in water beautifully. It tastes great.
Once in the morning, once at night.
Yep. Yeah. And I love that you put the 5,000 units of D3 per the 2 scoops, which is a serve. Well, 1 scoop is anyway, you're suggesting 2 scoops a day. Correct. 1 in the morning, 1 in the evening, right? But there's 5,000 units of D in there. And I love that you did that.
Yeah, to your point, 2 scoops is 1 serving.
Yes,
and so 1 scoop in the morning, 1 scoop in the evening, and that allows for a 24-hour release of the nitric oxide. So even while you're sleeping, you're creating it. And to your point, the 5,000 IUs of the vitamin D3, all the studies really support even healthy Americans doing at least 5,000 IUs per day. There's nothing wrong with that. If you want to get your vitamin D levels checked with your blood, I've just not seen people go over their vitamin D limits with that amount, even taking more than that. But anyway, 5,000 is a good start. And along with the vitamin K2, 180 micrograms, which is also in the CardioGo. So those help to get calcium out of areas like your arteries and get it into areas like your bone.
Awesome.
And just one other thing I just want to mention before we move on to the next product. We talk about, we've had so many wonderful guests and like yourself, and you guys are involved in research, and, we know the research for so many wonderful natural products are out there, but it's sad, and it's actually tragic that Western medicine is ignoring all of the research that's been done on all of this amazing stuff. Because if the public knew to use these products, we would not be in the health, I call it the disease crisis that we're in. And it's a shame. So when you say there's thousands of pieces of research on this, it's like, come on, let's get with it. More doctors should be suggesting nitric oxide and the products that go with it. So thank you for making that product. Yeah. Okay. Next, we're going to talk about our heavy metals. And this is a wonderful product you made. Keelanox. So tell us about this product.
Sure. So while I was in practice, I was using a lot of chelation supplements, again, because 80% of my patients were dealing with cardiovascular issues. So whether they would do the oral chelation along with IV or just the oral, very good results. So with the chelation, you're essentially cleaning those arteries up of the trash that's in there, primarily lead, mercury, cadmium, aluminum, and then also the glyphosates. Those ingredients are very helpful in the microplastics. So it's a pretty stout formula. So I was using primarily EDTA chelation, but then there's such good research also on modified citrus pectin and chlorella and shilajit and zeolites and cilantro that we added that to.
In here.
It's all in there, right? So it's a complex. All those things have an affinity for certain metals, more so maybe than the other ingredient, and together they work really well. And then we added the liver and kidney support with the N-acetylcysteine and the alpha lipoic acid, uva ursi, milk thistle, and the nettle. So now as you're pulling those metals out, chelating them, and then now you got the support then also to flush them out with the liver and the kidney support. So it's a kind of a very, it's a thoughtful formula that addresses those issues.
So I guess we should step back for a moment and just simply explain what chelation is, because a lot of people, we talk about it all day long, but I guess we should clarify. Chelation is actually a Latin term that means to cleave onto, to grab. So when we talk about chelating heavy metals, we're talking about this product can grab them and help pull them out of the body. Now, when it's pulling them out, are they mainly being dumped through the urine or through the bowel function?
Primarily through the urine, but through the bowels as well. But, the urine is a great way actually to test for heavy metal toxicity. In fact, since you brought that up, we have practitioners that are sending us back reports of using the Keelanox, showing us before and afters of using the Keelanox with their patients who show up positive for heavy metal toxicity. So it's really good validation, right, that this is actually doing what it's supposed to do in eliminating metals. But urine and hair are some of your best ways. You can do it through, you can do feces testing as well to show for metal toxicity. So you do excrete that way as well.
For many years, we were very blessed to have a wonderful doctor in our area. He was actually in Bluffton, Ohio, about 45 minutes from us. And I met him when I was 16 because he was a good friend of Joe Bassett's. And of course, I started working at Bassett's when I was 16. And Dr. Chappell was he was a chelating doctor from 60 years ago. And he headed up the chelating society. I forget what they call the, whatever it is, the name of that. Anyway, I was very blessed to learn about chelation when I was young. And over the years, I would send him hundreds of people to get chelated. Well, eventually he retired. And, so I'm glad you have this product because most people need to be chelated. They just don't realize it.
Okay. Yeah. Should you take this without being tested?
You can, absolutely.
Yeah, so there's a few ways to take it. Some people address it sort of like a parasite cleanse once a year or twice a year, where they'll just do a parasite cleanse because they know they've got them. So it's you are subjected to heavy metal toxicity if you eat and breathe and drink water. So we're all affected. So doing something like that, where you do even up to like 8 to 12 capsules a day for a period of time, just to get rid of the metals. If you know you got metals through testing, then of course you take the product until you're showing that your metals have cleared to an acceptable range. Or like Dr. Gary Gordon, who is the grandfather of the ACAM movement that you were talking about. He's the one that has monitored millions of patients through the NIH and the research and the studies. And he's the guru, and he talks about oral chelation being beneficial as well as the IV. And he says it is safe to take every day because you're come in contact with metals every day. You could take a couple of those Keelanox and you could help to just detoxify what you're coming in contact, or what you're coming in contact with on a daily basis, metal wise.
I mean, with industry all around us, this is why so many people are being, exposed, whether they realize it or not. So, and I'm a fan, of course, I was around the IV chelation for so many years, but anymore, I think the oral is really maybe easier, let me say that. Maybe it's easier on the system to do it orally. What do you think about that?
I think if somebody's got severe issues, they should do the IV. I really do. I believe in the IV. It's a great way to mainstream that right into your blood vessels at high doses. And it's safe and effective. And I'm a big fan, unfortunately, to your point about, the doctor that you had mentioned, is that unfortunately, we're not seeing as many of these IV chelation practitioners. Yeah. And it's really a tragedy because there should be one on every block. But the oral works along with that. So usually people get 1 or 2 treatments of the IV per week. And so they can do this along with their IV. Or as you pointed, a lot of people may not have the, whatever it is, $5,000 to go get this because insurance isn't going to cover chelation.
Right.
Unless you have lead poisoning or something like that. But anyway, so it's very much more accessible, obviously using this in the oral form. The other thing that we did with this formula is that the research shows that EDTA, if you take it orally, once it hits stomach acid, you basically only have about 5% left. So we use an acid resistant capsule so that as you take the supplement, it goes through the stomach acid, opens up in the small intestine. So we get a much better absorbability.
Nice. Yeah, very good. Any concern with any contraindication with meds with this product?
Not that I am aware of that there's any contraindication. They want to continue to obviously check their blood pressure and make sure that if they're on a blood pressure med, that they're monitoring that, because as they get their body detoxed. And something, by the way, that really makes the chelation work is not so much, it was thought even by Dr. Gordon that it was because it was able to, as you mentioned, to claw or to cling to calcium and get it out of the arteries.
Mm-hmm.
He was routinely seeing that some of his patients got phenomenal results with the IV, but when then they went back to do calcium scores, they weren't getting rid of their calcium. So come to find out, it really has to do with the lead toxicity. Goes back to nitric oxide. It jams up the zinc receptors in the epithelium to where you can't produce nitric oxide synthase to be able to convert arginine into nitric oxide. So again, getting rid of the lead so the zinc can get in there is really the magic of why chelation actually works. It goes back to heavy metal toxicity and nitric oxide.
Yep. Very good. I love that. I didn't realize that that's how it's happening with the lead. I always tell people heavy metals are blocking receptor sites.
Yes, correct.
Right. But that's very interesting how it's blocking the ability of nitric oxide to work properly.
Absolutely.
All right, here's another look at the product right there, available at Claudia's Health Food. There you go. All right, what else do we have?
Well, that's for now. That was it.
That was it.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
That's all we really need then.
So, but to take those two products together would be that's a phenomenal team. We have a
100%.
lot of
100%. If they're dealing with severe cardiovascular issues and they're aware of that, or if they have high blood pressure that they're not able to get under control, I would absolutely suggest that you take the two of those together, clean those arteries out, and then you give the nutrition back in there to help produce nitric oxide production with the CardioGo. So excellent 1-2 punch.
And then both of those should be taken on an empty stomach, correct?
Correct. That's right.
But not together.
Ideally not together. Correct. Okay. So yeah, some of those things in the Keelanox are also amino acid in how they act. And so taking it away from the amino acids in the CardioGo would be ideal. So if you give at least 20 to 30 minutes from each other would be good.
Okay.
All right,
Good.
There you go.
Yeah. Any questions you have?
No, I think you guys answered them all expertly. And I know I'm informed now.
Yeah.
Hopefully everybody watching is too.
Dr. J, anything else you want to go over for now?
No, just he mentioned that, where we met and how we met and what the impact was. You said you were going to ask me about that interaction, Denny, with Claudia. And it was, of course, a joyous, very okay. You will not forget Claudia when you meet her. And that's very much a good thing. So Claudia rocks. She is a rock star in her community, doing the things that she does. And she's fantastic. So we'll look forward to seeing her again at that same trade show coming up in July.
Absolutely. Yes. Well, we appreciate your time today. And you stopped by the store a couple weeks ago. That was very kind of you to do that. That was terrific.
That was fun.
And I appreciate you doing that. The team loved meeting you, and you gave them some education, which is wonderful. And I appreciate it. So thank you so much.
You got it, Claudia. Thanks, Denny. Appreciate you guys.
Sending you a hug, man. Thank you. I'll see you soon.
Okay, sounds good.
Bye-bye. All right, there you go. Awesome stuff.
Good.
Yes. So I don't have high blood pressure, so I probably wouldn't need this.
I mean, I either one. Remember, we're accumulating heavy metals, so at some point you might want to do the Keelanox. At some point you might want to do that.
But how would you know? How would I, like, my blood pressure would start going up, or I'd have to get tested?
It's, there's different symptoms for different metals. A lot of people that are achy have, all of that stuff. So, but I think that, and he said this point, I'm a fan of doing parasite cleansing at least once a year, because most people are dealing with parasites, whether they know it or not. I think it's good to do heavy metal test or heavy metal cleansing once a year. He said twice. You can do it once or twice a year.
So
but
if
I
you-
think it's a wonderful thing to put into your program.
Your regimen.
Yes.
So if I did this and did this entire bottle, is that considered a cleanse?
Yes, it is.
Okay, well then I'll do
Now,
that.
some people will do it by, they might do a heavy metal cleanse for 3 months. Some people want to do shorter term. Now, as I said, all the years we had Dr. Chappell and we knew exactly what metals people were dealing
Right.
with. And without him, I'm looking for someone I can send people to see where their metals, where their starting point is.
Mhm.
So we have a lot of people that just jump into heavy metal cleansing, even though they don't know where their levels are, and that's okay.
Yeah.
But, we have people that we see all different kinds of blood pressure and joint pain and issues with, headaches and what have you. Heavy metals can cause a lot of stuff.
Okay. If this is you, stop in to the store on Seco Road. See Claudia or anybody from the team. They can help you.
And everybody's asking, just to put this out there, everybody's asking, because we ship product all over the country. But soon people will be able to purchase right from our store, from our website.
You're going to have an online store.
Thank you.
An online store.
We're going to have an online
well,
store.
I'm giving you a round of applause for that. That's good stuff. Welcome to 2025.
We're working on it. So thank you for everybody that's been asking.
All right, great. That was a good episode.
Yeah.
And next week, what are we talking about? Gut, brain health?
Gut brain health. We talk about it all every day at the store, and I think it would be a great thing to talk about. Well, it's always good to talk about that because everybody needs it.
We do.
Everybody needs it.
Please share this podcast. Get this important, vital information out to people that don't know it, don't have access to it. And it also helps out us because we have giant egos and we want lots of views. So, and by we, I mean me. Anyway, thank you again for watching.
Yes,
share it.
you.
And Claudia, like always, giving you the last word.
Thank you. I appreciate that. So, the message is always be proactive. It's worth every moment to be proactive with your health. I always tell people, don't wait for the crisis, because once the crisis hits, nobody's having fun. Plus, it's very expensive to have a crisis. So doing things proactively every day, wrap your heart around them. It's a good thing to do. So these are some nice products to consider. And, like I always say, keep the faith, everybody. Keep the faith, put some good love and energy out in the world, and know that, a lot of good things are happening. So thank you so much for watching and sharing, and many blessings, everybody. Peace.